Tunesia. The best thing is that I don't know what to say about it. So if you want, you can create a pillow. Will be not a lot pictures because where we actually made the movie probably, and it's still on Avi. There won't be many photos. I once talked about this with my cousin, who is a pilot for one of the most important Chinese airlines. He lived in Beijing since many years. We sat with James and talked about travel, and the topic turned to holiday destination. James said, God, if I were only going there on a tour, I would say, bloody shit. Why do they only focus on these fucking hotels that aren't theirs but belong to the French mostly and don't show off what they have? You must discover it on your own. The Soviets didn't even lock everything up. You could take the French tram from St. Petersburg to Berlin. Exactly. That's the problem. As well, they are not Turks and they won't be kind to you selflessly. Always is something for something. It's been a nest of pirates since ancient times, as well Vandals on the beginning of the history. Pompeius Magnus' son had his headquarters here and caused quite a stir in Rome. They had it impartialating. In the Ottoman Empire, they were in Topkapi, just as the teachers of erotic education for women who were chosen as future Hazeki, so these veneers of Sultan. Hannibal, unfortunately, I think that as my great uncle of what is rolling in the grave. Today, thanks to colonialism, they don't know who they are. In fact, with their mentality, they don't fit in anywhere. Besides, that's the problem of the entire coast of Mediterranean Sea. It's best to flee back to the colonial motherland and not fix their own country. Hannibal crossed over to kick ass and did well, and now the saying Hannibal ante portas can be forgotten. Yeah, from Hannibal to Tunesian is long way as well in DNA, but God mercy. I'm tempted to say a few words, but let's leave the British sarcasm aside and try to be nice. In fact, the resorts are clean, are mostly good. This isn't Italy, but they don't know how to serve historical monuments. But they still need to learn. A few have been added to the list, but we are still in the wilderness. This is also the problem of Eastern Europe. Look at Scotland, people. Look at them. There is not much on the mainland. Leave Aberdeen and oil. It's different subject. These people know how to advertise every brick. Bold pubs, hotels, roads, and signs near it. Restaurants, everything. For one brick or even just big banner that someone lived there. Like, for example, in Lanark, there was a house of William Wallace. And that's how the small towns make a money and give people job. That's how they work. Here it's what in Eastern Europe. As outside of the Czech Republic, we have huge historic castle, ruins, churches, many things. Let them be, let them decay. A tourist may want something, let them not come in, is more comfortable, safety. We can still sit and have sacred peace, but be angry that we haven't a lot in the pocket. Egypt has already discovered it. They learned. Here, they can't do that. Cartagena, would use that Latin name because I prefer that, sounds better. no doubt. But of course, it's important and it should be present, it should be visited. But the Cartagena we are seeing is Roman. A few things might be remembered by Hannibal, as it was demolished by Roman. Tophet is original. It's typical for Phoenician. Tunis, okay, but the old town could be sometimes good cleaning from time to time, even with a very dirty rag. Nobody going to lick it, as the Russians say, and you can already see a bit of the wall. It's Russian saying. French habits, cleaning in Photoshop, things that people not return. I would never return to Paris. I know what Arab markets looks like, but it could be cleaner. The White City, a popular setting for the movies, sometimes even play our role because it's cheaper. City side, we have a White City, so I agree it's similar. I admit that the houses were well kept and clean. There were also some installations, but showing how people lived there, not too much. I will make a good restaurant with you as well. Suez and few others, but cities near the seashore. Was clean, that's true, but it's a resort. There is nothing to see over one hotels. A resort is a resort, always. It's work like that. And I'm unfortunately like Japanese. I need to go in every hall and want to find Japanese and now as well Chinese left the most money in tourism. They have knowledge, they want, they gone, they will fight for that, even in snow, rain, but a Kiev. Then British, but they need as well pubs. And here we have that problem. Open-minded, but in a hasn't bucket still. I sincerely remember Swiss cleaning nice city, but modern city unfortunately. The rat there was very cool, and I can change that. I have had a mouse in the icon counting system since 3 years already with a name, because we decided to not make a remake of a great American comedy Hunting for a Mouse. How mouse stay. And rats don't bother me. Rats find bombs, they are intelligent, their bodies are brilliant. There was one garden, which I remember very well. It was sweet and ingenious. Someone made a furniture for their own children, probably. Rabbits and guinea pigs, a kitchen, a table with plates, and that many around the world could learn from these creatures how to eat at the table. And everyone stand and do a photo of it. This guy paradoxically know what is going on in tourism, thought he might not have been able to name it. It was a great idea, really. They are pushy, that's true. Libya isn't pushy, my uncle worked there. Later, Iraq. I had an uncle from Iraq, but they like the Egyptians are pushy. And their fitting is on par with some Eastern European countries, known for their not good marriage statistics and lack knowledge of biology. They are not Turks. They are not former Soviet Muslims republics. It's probably also because the women who go there behave this way and set an example. They think that everyone is like that. Tunesia is unfortunately famous for being a valley of gigolos. Sorry, this is statistic. These are shameful statistics of this country. Unfortunately, they are unaware of venereal disease, different to Italians, so they spread them. There are no biology lessons in the schools, not even the basics, so think about it before. Then there is still morality police, although there is no morality. This is hypocrisy, but again, we are back to the fact that someone doesn't know who they are. A behavior seeker, it's a fault of colonialism. So, either martial arts or good umbrella as we hug, shoes are helpful. They can decide. One leg here, over there. It must fall. Yeah, Mother France would come. I'm afraid that Mother France has enough. Hannibal is falling over, and I fear he might still be content not to be buried in our country. Hannibal should be the national treasure. Everyone know him. They should, if they have finished 5th grade. I know their education level very low, but it's not the same the whole world, yes? Hannibal was there. He is important person in the history of that part of world. This person, like Alexandros, isn't no one. And Alexandros is exploited, is shown. Everyone is proud of Alexandros. Even in India is possible because there is still the unique second Alexandria Bucephalia, where Alexandros ordered his horse and created city there. They are still proud of that he was there. I met once a man who was from that part of India. We began to speak because he saw my surname when I paid a card in the restaurant, Indian restaurant. And first word which he told was, yes, Alexandros, I lived in that city where he buried his horse. The great Alexandros who created great empire and show your population our world. It was his word. And this is as well how is like use famous historical persons who people know. And I sure he had not so great level of education as people from Tunesia who I could meet, know, and they had no idea who Hannibal was, who was Charlemagne, although they lived in France. So there is something wrong. He practically doesn't exist there. God, when the White started babbling about him, it turned out he was taking those elephants for Cartagena. Nope, elephants lived in Spain. He took them for Cartagena. That's a difference, Cartagena or Cartagena. Different. They crossed the Pyrenees from there, and that was a problem, but they didn't sail on ships. Elephant and lions lived in Europe in ancient times, which is quite recent time in the history for the earth. They were doing just fine. Shackles are now starting to returning because they were there too. This isn't an invasion as few idiots primates in the EU would want that we have to believe in it. The downside of my job is observing. Unfortunately, the majority behaved in the way they did, harming the minority. The Hannibal statue should be like the Leonardo statue, even at airport. Leonardo statue is even at Rome, although he wasn't in Rome. A great statue showing everything what is there. Even Kyrgyzstan show everything to tourists that they have. It's more expensive, you need a visa, and it's becoming increasingly fashionable and has less to offer, plus water with cholera, which Tunisians don't have. And people go there. So we need to think about it and give some questions. Unless we are betting on dark mass lying on the beach, but paradoxically this mass doesn't leave as much money as tourists wandering everywhere. It's certainly not convenient, it's certainly more convenient, comfortable, but it's need to choose. Iraq is destroyed now, but in those days, apparently, as we heard in TV, very bad days, they opened and even restored everything. Serious. They had Babylon rebuilt. Gone there to her husband Hamili visit Babylon. I thought its originals are in Berlin, closed now for 25 years because Pergamon Museum began renovation. Hammurabi Codex is as well in Berlin, but they created the copy. But they did it here. It's 1 foot on the row with everything. The women are smarter than men, but they don't have a voice. I remember you had a cleaning woman whose brother lived in Poland or Czech Republic somewhere there. She tried to converse in some convoluted ways. It was difficult to understand it because she didn't recognize the difference between us. But okay, we still understand some words from Polish or Czech. She was a very intelligent woman. We talked about the countries, the families, our observation about both sides. She saw what but we could. And the country had already gone bankrupt. These days you don't have to declare bankruptcy because it's split panics. Bankruptcy is when the other country stops buying your bonds. That's how it's worked today. They stopped doing that there, so they went bankrupt. And it was part of the odds because people's wages were terrible. Because of that. Yeah, so there is a potential. Still there are places which should be shown but aren't shown. But with that mentality, that country wouldn't change, unfortunately. And that's why it disappoints. It's comfortable if you want to stay on the beach and just stay on the beach. But I unfortunately, as my father and the rest of my family can stay just on the beach.